Hello and welcome to Bad Boy Cinema. I'm your host, Rick Reel, and with me today is my co-host, Elliot Film. Elliot, how are you?
Elliot.
Yep,
I
let me
am
finish.
okay. I'm sorry. I am wondiferous, splendoroony, having a great time, as they say.
Yeah, how's life?
Life.
I heard
is,
we had to kind of mix up the recording schedule a little bit. You mentioned
yeah. Check this out.
thing. Yeah.
I got the home theater system set up. I wall mounted the TV.
Was it not wall mounted before?
No, it was just on a stand.
Yeah.
But now the home theater is set up.
I love the cord hanging down. That looks great.
Okay, well, you have to have a cord because despite waiting 100 years, we still have cords. I've been in cryogenics.
That's why I never do wall mounting, because it's like, well, you're gonna still see the cord. Who cares?
Yeah. But now it has freed up the shelf where the TV once was.
You put your movies there?
Yeah, or books or other things. Little fucking vinyl figurines if I want to. Yeah, now you're interested. Let the record show.
No, I was mad.
Show. Yeah. No, yeah, it's nice. And you can cover up the cord. I just did this yesterday. And we're gonna cover up the cord.
That's great.
And it's gonna look wonderful.
I like the backlight on it. I'll say that's nice. Yeah, that changes colors. You can do like
it matches.
Does it sync with the TV? Yeah,
it does sync with the TV. Yeah,
that is kind of cool.
It's pretty cool. It's
or is it distracting? Did you have it set up for when you watched this week's motion picture?
I did have it set up.
For those of you who autoplayed this or can't read, we watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Not
released
Charlie.
In 1971, directed by
Mel S.
Yeah. Don't know if Mel S did a whole lot of good pictures.
He did the classic.
No.
Yeah, he did the classic. If it's Tuesday, this must be Belgium. He did One Is a Lonely Number, which I'm familiar with the song. So I guess the song is based on this movie.
I will say we recently watched Taxi Driver, right?
That's correct.
It is crazy that this movie came out within 5 years of Taxi Driver, because it seems like two totally different eras of filmmaking. You know what I mean? Because this feels like a stage play adapted for the silver screen.
Well, it is a book, but I get the feeling.
Yeah, like the stage direction and the musical numbers and all that are evocative of older Hollywood, in my opinion. But Taxi Driver is like a real movie.
So this is not a real movie.
It doesn't feel like a real movie to me, and I think wasn't it like a box office bomb and then
I didn't realize budget of $3 million made $4 million in the box office.
It's terrible. That's really bad.
I am kind of amazed that the budget was only $3 million though.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely blew all of it in the
candy room.
Yeah, the one specific room, and then everything else is like pretty shitty. I was kind of taking notes, sort of in our Discord.
Okay.
Kind of beat by beat, so I guess we could do that, mix it up.
Yeah, we can look through your my on the fly reaction.
Yeah. So I mean, the movie starts with that B-roll, which I thought was the best the movie looked. In retrospect, the B-roll of like, just like Hershey's Kisses being made
Yeah.
is
You,
crazy.
you did say is very how it's made energy, and absolutely true.
So true. Also, this was, I mean, I guess when I was a kid watching this movie, like it slowly kind of creeps up on you that wherever it takes place, this isn't quite America. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I watched the commentary,
Mm,
and they so the commentary that I watched, I don't know, there's probably others. This was just the kids.
mhm.
Um, it was all 5 children, but 30 years after filming. So it was
Oh,
2001. And they're just kind of like going back over everything. And I would say over the runtime of 100 minutes, they mentioned that it was filmed in Germany about 15 times. Um, they're big fans of the fact that this film was filmed in Germany. Um, but it's, evocative of, you know, any town Europe.
it's like Anytown Europe, but like because at the end of the movie, there's a sky shot of where they are. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So you get to see. I'm like, oh, this is clearly Anytown Europe. But before
Yeah.
that, it's like you're like, oh, this is like a poor town
Hmm.
somewhere. And then you watch more and more of it, and you're like, where the fuck does this take place? And it like not where it's set
Yeah.
filming in real life, but like where is this fictional town where the Wonka factory is? Like I think
Yeah.
it's deliberately
Yeah. It
nowhere,
is deliberately nowhere.
but
They
it's
did
just
mention that.
it's annoying when they call attention to where all the other kids are from, and they do
Yeah.
like a pretty good job, like kind of nailing those different locations. And then with Charlie, they're like, hey, he's from somewhere.
He's from England?
but it's like like some like shitty old as dirt. Well, not old as dirt because that'd be like Native Americans, but like you know Pennsylvania settlers, like somewhere in Pennsylvania, and it's
Yeah.
old,
Yeah.
and it's like right next to where the Amish probably are hanging out,
Yeah.
like Lancaster or something like that. Like that's where in my head that's where this movie takes place until like the end where you're like, oh well, this is clearly Europe.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it does feel Amish adjacent, but that's probably just because they didn't really have technology.
Yeah. Well, then,
Because,
because of course, like, what time period is any of this, right? Because it's like, they're making chocolate and there's factories, so like industrial revolution or whatever. So it could be
yeah, there is
any time
industry,
after that.
but she's also like washing her clothes on a washboard, like in a place.
Yeah, and
Like
like
like there's a
you go to
laundromat to
school,
bring your own washboard or something.
and then they're like, also there is TV.
Yeah.
It's
Also,
really
they're
like,
they're watching westerns on TV.
yeah, just I mean the anachronism, and I mean maybe that's on purpose, but like I think there's a lot of interesting stuff about this movie, but the more that I think about it, the more I'm like, it seems like this was a poorly made movie that on accident has interesting things. You know?
Uh, well, I would disagree. I think we may diverge on this film.
Okay.
I don't love this film. I truly don't. But uh, it does have, in my opinion, kind of a lot to offer. There's a lot going on
I
in
think there's
these
a lot of
frames.
interesting things that you can cherry pick from this that are
Yeah, I think.
again, like I'm thinking in my head that they're happy accidents, and like between like
Yeah,
Gene Wilder like being better than the role that he was given, you know what I mean? And like
absolutely. Like
other little things like
insanely.
that. Yeah, like he's way too good for this movie, and is probably doing some stuff and adding stuff to the character that I think
Yeah,
makes it.
I
I just feel like
think
there's
that
so many happy accidents.
I don't know if it's a happy accident. I think that certain people came together to make something. I don't think that Mel S. Now
You're like,
in the commentary, they were giving a lot of credit to Mel S. And they're like, Mel, he put his kids in this, nepo babies.
who are
But
Mel's kids in this?
they're extras. They're
Oh.
like one of the. I think it's the kid that asked for the scrumdiddlyumptious that you
I
said
was
you
like, is
hate.
that the kid? God, I don't like that. I want to talk
That's
about the child actors in a little bit because I don't like that kid.
yeah, that's the director's son, and the director's daughter is in one of the classroom scenes. But I think that Gene Wilder, he really carried this movie on his back like he's Frodo Baggins.
Mm-hmm.
Or Samwise Gamgee. I haven't seen those films, so I don't know who carried who on the back.
Right, I haven't seen those either.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
and
a
we
project
never
for
will.
this.
No, we never will.
I received a request that we should watch those, but
Well, check the email and
send it to the email. If you don't send it to the email, it's not
if you
official.
send it to the email, you will be
Bad Boy Crimes
considered.
fan or not
You will be
crime.
considered.
Bad Boy Redacted, Bad Boy Cinema fan mail at gmail.com.
badboycinemafanmail@gmail.com. If the request doesn't come in there, I'm sorry to say that you lose. You get nothing.
Good day.
Good day, they them.
Non-binary Charlie Bucket. That would go crazy.
If Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory did not exist, Charlie Bucket would be the number one non-binary name on Earth.
Yeah, and like Bucket's like a middle name.
Yeah,
yeah, like
Charlie Bucket.
You're the they thems of today would be like Sock Leaf Played Out. It's a good name, but like a middle name, Bucket.
Yeah,
and that's what like my friends will call me. But then like I need a gender neutral first name, so we'll go with Charlie. It is a good one.
Is it honestly?
So I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. I was going to do some bit that was going nowhere. But this movie, Gene Wilder, nailing it.
It is a sleepy movie before Gene pulls up, with a couple of exceptions.
I actually disagree. Now,
really?
I went on record last week, I believe, saying that there are too many fake outs of the golden ticket.
I still agree with that.
I absolutely agree with that, and that is atrocious. They do not need to be doing that. It was really... This movie feels like it's way longer than 100 minutes.
No, it's the worst paced 100-minute movie that I know of.
Yeah.
Because the first half of the movie is terrible because
the first half of the movie is like 30 minutes. It just feels like half.
Really?
I don't know. But that's
because to me, I was like, it felt like it was like, as soon as they get into the factory, half out. Yeah, that's how it feels. And I'm like, they need to do like an extended edit of the factory stuff. If they're not that there probably even is anything to put in there, but you got to cut out the song that the mom sings.
Yeah,
and cut out like one of the fake outs, and then you fix the movie.
Yeah, get this down to 80 minutes. You're killing it.
Well, let's do like a play-by-play, right? So, the movie opens up with the Candyman talking about candy and how great Wonka is. And now I don't like the director's son. Asking about the Scrumdiddlyumptious bar. I don't like that name either, but whatever. But I like the Candyman. And I like that he talks like an old-timey TV guy.
I do like the Candyman. In the commentary, they were like, "Oh yeah, that's this guy. He's just like a a German actor, because this was filmed in Germany, folks. And they're like, yeah, he's doing things. I had lunch with him like 2 weeks ago. I was like, okay, they're still friends with the Candyman. But what I will say about this in the film, in that scene with his musical number, he's given away a lot of candy. He's just throwing it hither and yon.
I assume he's like keeping a tab open for the kids.
He's got a mental tab of like, he just scoops jelly beans and is like throwing them everywhere. I don't think he's keeping a mental tab. And Charlie Bucket is just like looking through the window like, wow, I wish I was getting free candy. Go inside. Just like it's free candy only for rich kids. Like, so that's
won't notice a little bit going missing.
It's fine. Just it's called breakage, Charlie.
I like that in this movie, right? There's like at first watch 3 candy people in the movie, and really only 2. But even if you include the guy who's not actually Slugworth, if you include him, like the candy people in this world have like a mystical quality about them.
Yeah.
They're like incredibly wise, or like they just are magic. And I'll get into more of the magic stuff in a little bit, where like just thinking about, like, obviously it's a kid's movie and you shouldn't like pick shit apart. I don't want to like be one of those like YouTube guys where I'm like, oh, I'm picking out a plot hole in your kid's movie.
Bad boy cinema sins.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. But like I think inadvertently, because I don't think this movie was particularly well thought out, but it inadvertently gives at least Willy and the Candyman, those two specifically, they have this like mystic sage quality to them.
Yeah,
the hero's journey, which is just really funny, but like it's a nice little texture, a little wrinkle of something, because this movie, again, until Willy shows up, doesn't do a whole lot. I hate the school. I hate the teacher. Like, I get you're supposed to hate the teacher. Yeah. And I think that's what in the Discord, I was like, they don't make actors this ugly anymore.
It's true. They do not make actors this ugly anymore.
They don't. I appreciated that there was just some real, I guess, German grown, but also clearly some American fellas as well in there. That were just regular people you now would find walking at Walmart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of the commentary was like, yeah, this guy's German because they just found him while we were making the movie. So they didn't cast ahead of time, but a lot of it was very meticulously planned, I learned.
Really?
They knew what they were doing, I think. I will say, no, far too many fake outs. And that really...
It really kills that first half of the movie.
It really, like that and Good Luck Charlie, get it out.
It is so bad. I was shit talking it last week, and you're like, well, spoilers, but like,
yeah,
it's easily the worst song that doesn't need to be in the movie. That entire scene doesn't need to be in the movie.
In the commentary, they were saying that they thought that scene would win an Oscar for something. I don't know. Bad take.
I mean,
but I do actually, I found that the first half had a lot of good jokes that I just like.
Well, and I wanted to get to that. So, but before I get to that though, like to put a pin in it, because I want to try and construct the flow of the movie.
Let's
try to mix things up a little bit. Charlie's at school. That's where they learn of the contest or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Pretty frequently, there's like, oh, there's a contest. That's the second day at school, because he goes home and he's like, I'm poor, and then you learn that his mom's there and his dad's dead or something, and then he has his 4 grandparents who are all in one bed, which has been talked about to death, and it's like, you know,
we don't need to mention Grandpa Joe in this fucking podcast.
We don't talk about Grandpa Joe.
Get Grandpa Joe out of me.
No, I mean, he's I don't need to necessarily talk about like the morality of Grandpa Joe, the character, because again, that's been talked to death. But I think the way that the movie portrays what Grandpa Joe is saying is weird
Yeah.
because the mom's, further on in the movie, the mom's like, let's like, hedge our bets. Like, let's not totally count on Charlie
Yeah.
getting the ticket,
Yeah.
And Grandpa Joe's like, no, he's gonna get it because he wants it the most. Like he deserves to get it. If he doesn't get it, like it's just not even gonna happen. He's gonna get it. And like Grandpa Joe is like kind of portrayed as being like right. I mean, he ends up being right, but like the movie's like, no, like we're on Grandpa Joe's side for this. And I was just like,
Yeah.
wow, this is a terrible thing to tell a child.
Yeah.
Like,
a global of 5 out of everyone on Earth. And you're like, yeah, it's this fucking kid. No.
I think the mom at one point drops the number 100 billion.
Yeah.
There's 100 billion people on Earth, and you're just as lucky as they are. And I was like, I don't think there's 100 billion people. Like,
yeah, but you could tell a 10-year-old that. They don't know.
They'd say, like, I mean,
like,
you could say a billion, that's a clean number. You could say 100 million. Both of those are wrong, but those are still like, sure,
Kids have no concept of numbers. I still have no concept of, like, you ask me how many people fit on a public bus, I'm like, 200? I don't know.
I'd say like 40, depending on the bus.
It's definitely more than 40. Come on now.
Well, it depends on the bus.
I think realistically it's 70, but when I'm on a packed bus, I'm like, this is 200
this is 200 people. Yeah.
This is minimum 200 people.
No, people are really bad at like estimating.
Yes.
Quantities, which is why we do those stupid, how many M&Ms are in this jar? Yeah. But when eventually
done at the chocolate factory, by the way, they should have had a jelly bean counting contest.
And if you lose, like Wonka just shoots you. Maybe that would have been the tiebreaker. Yeah. Like if 2 kids happen to get through the whole thing, which and I want to get to that too because it's weird.
Yeah.
But eventually, so Charlie finds out about the contest through the director's son, who I hate at school.
Yeah.
I just don't like his face. And I don't like his stupid haircut. I fucking don't like that kid. He's like burned into my brain. I don't know why, but I don't like that kid. But he learns about the contest through school. And I think that makes sense because the factory is conveniently in the same town.
Yeah.
So that presumably word travels fast in that town. What is crazy to me is that faster than what would be possible now with the internet, everyone on Earth is so immediately invested in this chocolate factory contest.
I mean,
just to me, it's like unbelievable that like this is instantly everyone cares about it.
Yeah. Not just like, I don't know. I'm unaware of any factories,
You are unaware of factories?
I'm currently unaware of any factories. Like if you ask me, like, where was
you were a former Candyman yourself, and I kind of wanted that opinion.
It's true. I am a former Candyman.
Logistical not problem, but a logistical thing I was thinking of that I wanted your take on specifically.
On how realistic it is.
Because this is Bad Boy Cinema Sins now.
The Boy Cinema Sin. First off, where's this movie set? Ding. Second, the Candyman doesn't give Charlie any free candy. Ding. Third, I don't. It's not realistic, I'll say.
I just think it's funny that the whole world cares that much about candy, and also that information can travel that fast in a pre-internet society. Mind blowing.
Yeah. I mean, we don't necessarily know how long it was. We don't know how long the contest ran for.
No, but
like months.
But
should have been
interspersed. Like it's on TV for who knows how long.
Yeah.
But
like, how does it reach Montana from any town Europe?
Then, like, I don't know if these are TV segments or if they're just bits that are interspersed in between the TV segments where they start doing, like you were saying, the little funny jokes
Yeah.
where it's like little skits that are really disconnected. And to me, I'm like reading it as like, oh, this is like a soap opera or something
I
that the
really
writers are
enjoyed.
like,
I really
are, you
enjoyed
know,
those skits actually.
the skits
I
were great. I do think those skits were very funny. Whoever wrote
like
those, like the only good
uh
part of the intro chunk.
yeah. Growing up, I've always glossed. I'm like, I'm only here for freaking Gene Wilder, dude. I'm here for Willy and nothing else.
No, those skits are good.
Those skits are actually good. The
It's like your
therapist of
husband's
like,
life or your Wonka bars. And he's just like, do I have
how
time to think
long
it over?
do I have to think it over? Yeah, great bit.
It's like really funny.
The guy who's trying to use Chat GPT to solve it. That's great. Willy Wonka did invent Chat GPT, and he was a little sassy. He was a little
I,
sassy about it.
and like I'm sure that these, I mean, I didn't read the book, right? So, but I'm sure that
Yeah,
those little bits were like there to like fill time, basically.
yeah, yeah,
For so it could be like a full length feature, and then they're like, well, we're gonna add Good Luck Charlie
yeah. We
in it
gotta
too.
good luck, Charlie.
No,
Um,
like those like clearly are like almost make like they feel like they're making fun of the whole premise of the movie.
yeah,
Like they're
and
making
that's
fun
great.
of like if you're a young child and you're like invested in Charlie getting the golden ticket, they're like actually you're an idiot. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
supposed to be like it's making fun of adults who are into this kind of thing, or just like general human greed or something like. But it's like making fun of the concept.
I think the
But also,
movie
you're supposed
is.
to want Charlie to get the ticket,
Yeah, I think the movie
which is
is like
annoying.
secretly anti-capitalist.
No, it's definitely anti-consumerism, and I'll get
Yeah,
to that point when we
it
get to Gene
absolutely is.
Wilder. But yeah,
I think it's a little anti-capitalist, but yeah, I like
I
those
mean,
bits a lot, and I've never appreciated them until this watch through.
I agree.
Uh,
I agree because I didn't. Yeah, it's like I don't even remember those bits. I
yeah,
didn't
those
even watch it that long. I mean, I watched it like almost a decade ago, but not
yeah,
that long ago, relatively
yeah.
speaking. And
You're
yet,
you're
it's still
still
like I'm like, oh, damn, those kind of hit. And some of
it's very
the
vaudeville, and I love that.
it's just like I would love like a super cut on YouTube of just those
Hmm.
skits because I would rewatch that. I wouldn't rewatch the whole movie
Yeah,
because I think you
I would
basically
definitely.
just turn the movie on, watch the Candyman song, and then you fast forward until Willy Wonka shows up. Like that's the ideal. If you've watched the movie before, that's the ideal way to watch the movie.
Yeah, I would say so.
Um,
Um,
I want to talk about the other kid. Well, I guess we can talk about all of the kids, right?
all of the
The main
kids.
kids, because like Charlie, I don't like Charlie.
I don't know that you're
He's also
supposed to
kind
like
of
Charlie. He's a wiener.
he's kind of a little dork kid, but he's like a nothing. Like he's not
He's
really.
absolute. I think he's the epitome of like mid white man rising to the top.
Yeah, I mean, well, and the whole movie is very white, which
Yeah, the whole movie is
upon
very
my
white.
modern perspective, I'm like, oh wow, there's like I think a shot of like China, I think, and
Yeah,
then there's a reference to Paraguay being where the one of the fake out winners was from, and I was like, oh yeah, of course the South American country's lying about winning the contest, like of course,
yeah,
like it would. I was like, they should have been Brazilian. That would have been maybe
yeah.
a more.
I know. In the book, the Oompa Loompas were pygmies. Are you allowed to say that?
I don't know, but the book said it.
Uh,
We're just
the book said it.
we're referencing
Um,
what was where did they find all those little people
they come from
in
Loompa
Germany?
Land.
No, I mean when they were filming because they had to
Uh,
have 20 of them.
they there were actually only five, and one of them
Did
was
they
a
just?
woman. Yeah, I learned that from the commentary.
There's only five. Okay, well yeah, I guess you can probably find
Yeah,
more, but
they're just kind of faking it. Um,
the
but
other
yeah,
kids though, let's try and stay on task.
okay, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
The
Augustus
other
Gloop.
kids, and not also nothing character, but the actor did a fine job of
Yeah,
being a fat little German boy.
yeah. He was fine. I will say, not Violet. Veruca Salt, only one not to get a TV interview.
Oh, true. She didn't get a TV interview.
They don't even show that she wins. They just show that she's going to. So like, look, we
And
got all these people shelling chocolate bars. And then they're just kind of like, yeah, she won. You get it.
I think she was the best of the kids, as far as like the actress who was like
absolutely
the actor who's
honestly
most talented.
best song in the other than Pure Imagination, of course.
Okay, yeah, I was like, I would say her song is the best that isn't the Candyman song and Pure Imagination.
Yeah,
which granted, I mean, she's the only kid who got a song.
That's true. That's quite true.
Which I also didn't remember that she even had a song.
No, her song actually kind of whipped. It was pretty good.
It was fun.
And the commentary, one of the scene, it's kind of a long take where she's like freaking out in mid song, and she's like throwing the shopping cart into the boxes, and then it ends with her being a bad egg.
Yeah.
That whole scene, she's like wrecking everything, throwing stuff everywhere, knocking down all the boxes. 36 takes. Pretty interesting. Better reset that. Consider that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought that was. That's all.
I don't know. I don't know what Mel S was doing there.
Yeah.
I don't know what Mel S was doing there.
Violet Boat honestly is my my should have won it. I would say Veruca Salt.
I mean, if she wasn't terrible, I think Mike TV got dealt a bad hand. I'll say that. But,
yeah.
Because he's just a kid who liked TV and who was a little rude, but like otherwise,
he wasn't even that rude. I will say.
No, I'm using a little,
yeah, a little
rude.
Yeah, his crime was being too interested in it.
Yeah, his crime was like, you said it like in. Again, I'll get to it later, but it's like, well, Wonka, you kind of like set him up for that one.
Yeah.
More so than any of the other ones. You definitely were
the guy who's obsessed with TV and his last name's TV. Get this, you could be on TV, and he's like, okay, sounds freaking sick. And he's like, gotcha.
He's
idiot.
Like, yeah.
All right, that's entrapment.
He took advantage of an autistic kid's special
interest. That would not hold up in the court of law.
Yeah, that one was, I was like, Mike really, his mom sucked,
Yeah.
But although she was like very funny, like she sucked in a fun way, right?
Yeah, the character was
you're not supposed to in universe like her, but I thought she was pretty funny. Violet Beauregard,
they're all kind of just too interested, like, oh, this is Charlie doesn't have a special interest because he's too poor to. His special interest is chocolate. So like, he's just in it for the year's supply of chocolate or whatever at the end, the lifetime supply.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I just hold on till the end, I'll get my thing. If the tour lasted like another 20 minutes, if they go into the room where he's like, here's your lifetime supply, he would have been out too.
Yeah. What else? What else happens before we really get into the? I want to point out that the depictions of wherever Violet is from, and also specifically like Mike TV's like little Montana. Arizona household, I was like, they nailed it. they nailed those vibes perfectly.
Yeah. Not till you're 12, son.
And then eventually Charlie wins.
Yeah.
And they do the dance with Grandpa Joe, which
it's
also, I don't understand why he has 3 extra grandparents. Like, I mean, obviously people have grandparents, right?
Yeah.
Sure. But like for the
Young. He's
purposes
like
of the
10.
movie, they only need Grandpa Joe. And it's weird that
Yeah.
it's like Grandpa Joe is the only one who gets jazzed enough to
Um,
get out of bed and also like is the only one that matters. Like just get rid of the other parent. Like you don't
yeah,
need to
he's the
adapt.
only one with any person. I think it's because of the book. They like really emphasize the grandparents sleeping head to toe in one bed.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it. It's just like I mean the whole movie is very silly, right? Because then you
Yeah.
have my issue with and the logistical thing I wanted to bring up, right? So Slugworth
Uh-huh.
shows up to say hi to everybody who wins.
Yeah.
But Slugworth isn't actually Slugworth, but is a plant
Yeah.
by Wonka, which means on some level,
Wonka
and of course
knew.
he would kind of know this, but like Wonka had to have known where the tickets were like vaguely going to end up.
Yeah. And like how
To the
far into
point
the
where it's
production
possible
line.
that Slugworth literally just like opened up a chocolate, slipped in the thing, and handed it. So like Wonka had to have kind of handpicked people to a
Yeah.
rough enough degree that he could have Slugworth show up and be like, "Now listen
Yeah.
here, get me the everlasting gobstopper,
Yeah.
and I'll
He's
pay
like,
you
he's
handsomely."
checking the Excel spreadsheet of like, okay, how many boxes do they go through at this store? And if I send them 6 and it's in the 5th one, then it's going to come out probably around this day. Yeah. They did also talk about that in the commentary. I
Really?
believe Mike TV's Paris Themin was saying that he has a conspiracy that Wonka planted them all and knew exactly where they were going to end up.
Well, they had to
because
have.
of
Like
Slugworth.
logistically, it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense otherwise. Because then I think we're to assume that all of the Wonka chocolate comes from one factory in Nowheresville,
Europe.
Nowhere's land. Also, and an aside, at one point they mentioned 5 continents. I'm like, when were there only 5?
Yeah.
Which where like was Australia not a continent? Because like Antarctica, sure, that one's the easy. You throw that one out. So then you have 6.
Yeah.
Which one do you throw out after that?
I feel like it was just no, because they mentioned South America. I was
They
going to say it
mentioned
was
South
just all
America
one
because I would have.
America.
Yeah, they could have just had America, but that's like is Australia.
It's got to
Was
be
Australia
Australia.
Asia? At
Or
that
maybe
point, or they just not really think about it.
maybe they just extended Europe. It's just all Europe and then Australia.
5 continents of the world. Let's see what that says.
Yeah, you go from like Portugal to China.
Okay.
That's Europe.
Huh? Okay, so actually we were right. The 5 continent model is Africa,
Okay.
Europe, Asia, Oceania, which is
Mhm.
Australia, and then they counted America as one continent that they just call North and South. I guess they split that.
Okay. But it's still only one.
But according to them, it's one continent. So, and Antarctica just doesn't.
Yeah, it's not real anyway. They only actually invented Antarctica in like 1997.
Well, look, as far as I've always known, it's there's always been 7.
Yeah.
There's always been 7, and that's fine.
That the truth.
I think they should go back to Oceania, though.
Are they?
Did
not?
they go back to it? Or that is it?
I feel like they're Oceania.
No, I mean no. They call it they according to Google, which is referencing National Geographic from last year in November, so it's fairly recent. Not that this stuff changes all that often, but Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. So Australia, I think they should call it Oceania because that sounds cooler.
Yeah, because
and Australia is just the country. What about like Fiji?
Yeah. What about Tuvalu?
What about all the islands?
Vanuatu and
Palau,
Samoa? That's not over there. I don't know. Solomon Islands?
Kind of is.
St. Kitts and
But
Nevis?
like, what about all those fun little islands?
Yeah, great islands. I'd love to move to Vanuatu.
There's a Survivor season there.
Yeah, maybe I'll move there. Open up a grilled cheese restaurant. Vanuatu is like
it's a deep cut.
Vanuatu is huge for
volcanoes.
No, it's huge for what's
I mean, it
the
is,
money
but that's not
laundering?
what you're. Oh,
Yeah, money
really?
laundering.
Volcanoes and
Yeah,
shell companies.
offshore bank accounts and shell companies and all that. So those people, they got to show up every once in a while, and those, I don't know if they're dining on the local cuisine. The CEOs and such. So a little grilled cheese restaurant on the beach, folks. Don't steal my ideas.
Folks. Well, to go with Mike TV's theory, though, because then, of course, if Wonka clearly had to have known roughly the distribution of the things, and I kind of believe that fake Slugworth handpicked where these were going.
Yeah, I
Because
would say that Wonka handpicked it, but he was involved in it probably.
well, I mean, like in the moment, like it was physically
Mhm.
Slugworth, but I think Wonka was probably like
Yeah,
these people, and then like I think the Charlie one was genuinely a wild card,
yeah.
but it's also in the
You
town of the
think?
factory, so it's like somebody here.
I don't know.
It doesn't really matter who some Europe gets because all the various things in the factory. I mean, Augustus maybe not so much because he was kind of screwed
Yeah,
no matter what.
yeah,
But the special gum, the good egg bad
yeah.
egg
You
thing. I mean,
think
the
Slugworth?
TV thing for Mike was ridiculous. That was like so set up for him to fail when he's otherwise had been. I mean, he was going to probably
Yeah,
sell out the everlasting gobstopper to fake Slugworth anyway, but he was set up to fail.
yeah. I would agree. I think so. You think Slugworth like brought the tickets with him in a chocolate bar, and he went like to Montana. Where did he
Well,
go?
he
Balls
was in
Falls,
Montana. He was there at the interview. He was there with every single interview.
Yeah, but like
So
you're saying,
he had to have, I think that's what
like
happened.
you don't think the tickets went out in a box. You think Slugworth brought them and like planted them in store moments before.
Yeah.
He's
Or if
he's like
like or if
following
he's like,
Mike
okay, like
TV.
Veruca Salt is buying this like,
Yeah,
20,000 boxes of it. I'm gonna put it in one of those boxes in that lot and then just hang around.
yeah,
But I think otherwise it's like, oh, this annoying girl chews a lot of gum. Well, I'm gonna,
yeah,
slip in this dummy one. Like he could have been working the cash register
yeah,
or whatever, and been like, oh, here, take this one, annoying girl
yeah.
with chewing gum.
Like, do you think that Slugworth spoke to the Candyman of like
Oh,
because the
give it to
candy
this poor, because the
because
Candyman's the one who gives it to him.
yeah, and he's like whatever you got, and he's like
The
take this
secret
one.
network of Candymen. They're all
Yeah,
in cahoots.
and I've been in that network, and let me say,
Well, that's
there's a
why I wanted
lot
your
of
take because the
a lot of
logistics of like,
nepotism.
is there really?
not in a secret network of Candymen.
But Candy Factories, like I'm sure it's just like a guy starts one and then it's just a family business forever, right? No,
No, in the candy factory that I worked in, I mean there was a little nepotism. Two of the managers were brothers, so consider that. Yeah, the people that started the candy factory, they definitely moved out of being in the factory very quickly, and they were like, "We're just going to be executives." But other than that, not a whole lot of nepotism. No flowing river, no boat.
it sounded pretty
Almost
boring from your stories that you've told me,
yeah, almost nothing in
privately
the
and not in a public record of any sort.
absolutely true. Almost
Yeah.
nothing in that factory was edible, including the candy. So
I mean, as someone who's eaten some of that candy, it's some of it was all right. A lot of it was rough.
it's what I imagine the candy on the set to actually be.
Yeah.
Like when Wonka is like drinking the tea out of the flower and then he eats it, and you're like, that's wax, right? Like that's just a wax flower cup. Oh no, we have lost Rick Reel. he has abandoned ship. Um, so to vamp while he figures out what's going on, the candy in the factory was fake, a lot of it. And I learned a lot from the commentary. One of the interesting things was the ginger ale car, famous ginger ale car that was seen at a car show in 1972 and then never again. Rick reels back. I'm just going over some of the fun facts that I learned.
I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry. I clicked
That's
my
fine.
screen and then the
It's
entire web
all
browser
fine.
crashed.
Yeah, a lot of it was fake. Apparently, a lot of the Wonka bars were Turkish delights and Mounds bars, because they did not
One of
have
them,
real.
the Scrumdiddlyumptious bar, I think looked like a Mounds.
Yeah, I think that one was Mounds, and then the Wonka bar was either a Turkish delight or a Charleston chew. I don't remember. I think a Turkish delight. And the ginger ale car, I learned this. It was not ginger ale that was being pumped out of that tuba into Mike TV's face. It was fire retardant. It was like what's inside a fire extinguisher. And
That's
it
cool.
it gave everyone a rash and was really cold and uncomfortable.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But that brings me to a continuation of your point, kind of, that it was all orchestrated by Wonka. He's like a god
It had to
with
have
foresight, because there's not enough seats on the ginger ale car for anyone else. They had to have lost like 2 people already or whatever.
Yeah. No, it was 3, because I think the ginger ale car was just Mike and Charlie by the end. So, which I think leads me to my ultimate point that I've gotten from the movie, is that it feels like Wonka is representative of a creator who is sick of doing his thing and also hates it. I mean, fan base probably wasn't like the word that would have existed back then, but it feels like a guy who's made a thing, is sick of doing it, and he's grown to really hate the people that consume his product. Like, he hates consumers, which is why I think this whole movie is just so anti-consumer, like whatever, because the whole plan of his just doesn't make any sense unless he's just like so fucking over it and like hates these people. Because, I mean, besides just like setting up like weird death scenarios, which are like conveniently at the end be like, by the way, they're all going to be fine. Which I don't think that line exists in
the book.
In the book or in the Johnny Depp one.
Yeah. Boo, Johnny Depp one. Yeah. I would agree that he's especially because in the elevator he's like, I can't have an adult do it. He's gonna do everything his way and not my way.
My way.
I want everything to be mine still, but it's you could do all the work, but you have to do it to my specification.
Yeah. No, I thought that was weird. I mean, again, my favorite part of the movie, and the only part of the movie that's probably genuinely great, is the pure imagination sequence, because that's awesome. And it has such a somber sort of quality to it, because he's like, he seems kind of bummed out while he's going through everything, or he's resenting the other people who he's led into his, his Garden of Eden, if you will. Because Wonka's kind of like a weird, like the Candyman again are kind of like a weird godlike figures in this fictional world.
Which is
odd.
good.
It is good, but yeah, it's just the
boat scene.
Cool. Love the boat scene.
Way too much.
Dude, I love the boat scene. It could have been, they could have gotten the program over earlier, but I like the boat.
I like the boat scene, and allegedly there are a lot of different cuts of how terrifying it is.
Yeah.
I don't know why we need to see like a chicken get
A chicken
beheaded. That was unnecessary. Seeing like an extreme close up of like a tarantula's mouth, and you're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it was it's odd.
It's a bit. I do like the thing. I think the like the insane rant that Gene Wilder goes on that is like,
yeah.
I think that's the shining moment of dialogue in the film.
Well, like all the lines that he has where he's largely just talking to himself out loud.
Yeah.
Because he has a lot of those where like Wonka, he's just like, I fucking hate everyone here. Kind of including Charlie. Like he doesn't even really like or care about Charlie specifically. Which is why this film feels so disjointed, because you're supposed to, in the language of the story that's being told, like you're supposed to root for Charlie, you want him to succeed and get the thing. Like
and you're also supposed to like Willy Wonka.
And you're also supposed to like Willy Wonka, but like Willy fucking hates all these people. And I think it seems like he set him up, all of them, to fail somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he just basically sets up this giant lawyered ass contract that like if you breathe wrong, you lose. And then it's almost like I feel like the movie makes more sense if when he does his little rant at the end and he says, you get
lose. You get nothing.
Good day, sir. When he does that, I think Charlie shouldn't win.
Yeah.
I think you're supposed, if movie makes a million times more sense, because Charlie gives back the thing. He's like, oh, actually, now you won, and now it's a happy ending, and you win arbitrarily, even though I've set everybody up to fail.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I would agree, but it's not a good ending. It's a logical ending, but it's not a good ending.
I mean, I think it would have even been like a compelling narrative about the anti-consumerism, and he's like, oh, well, this guy's a fucking jackass. And
but then the movie amounts to nothing.
Well, maybe Charlie gets a little bit more perspective, and
we got to put this fucking 10-year-old in his place.
Yeah,
this poor ass 10-year-old that eats cabbage soup every day.
He needs to learn a lesson.
Let's just show him how the other half lives and kick him the fuck out.
Yeah. So you want this? This guy's an asshole. Like, you don't want this. I think that's the point. Like, you shouldn't want the factory.
Yeah. So I'll say Mike TV was definitely set up, and I'll say Violet Beauregard was also set up.
Yeah.
Augustus Gloop and Veruca Salt, he was just like, somewhere along the line, something's happening to him.
These kids are done.
These kids
it is mean for the first room to be like, you can eat anything in this room. This room, you can do whatever you want. And then every other room after that is like, don't touch anything or I will kill you.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I overall like this film. I think it's got some issues.
It's got major. I mean, again, it's like if I could cherry pick the stuff that I like, this might be a 5-star movie, But unfortunately, there's a bunch of shit that I don't like, or the movie just doesn't make sense because it doesn't know. Like, it's like there's a movie that's good, and then there's like studio interference, or like we have to make it adhere to the book or something. We have to make this an appealing story for children that makes it bad because it's completely disjointed.
They need to make this movie for adults. And Wonka, the recent iteration, was also for kids, and also apparently good. Have you encountered this? Apparently, it's a good.
Film. I've heard that take. I have not watched it. Maybe we could watch Wonka after this. I don't really want to, but maybe we.
I don't really want to, but I'm open to it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm also
get an
open
email.
to it. If you guys want us to compare, we do this one. Maybe we watch it's Wonka month whenever this comes out, and we do.
We're gonna have
Johnny Depp one, and then we do Tiny Tim.
We're not doing the Johnny Depp one.
No, we're not doing the Johnny Depp one because
we will never do that movie.
Although I will say, I think the Johnny Depp one is more coherent in its messaging than this one. In
Yeah, I
that I think
think
like this movie, it really feels like there's this weird anti-consumer thing, and then it's bookended and interspersed with a compelling children's story where the kid wins the cool big thing, and that's great. But even though you're not supposed to want, I don't know, it's just like
yeah,
the kids are being punished for their sins, which ranged from gluttony to chewing gum, which is a very nasty habit, and to liking
quite true. I know a
TV.
worse one. Yeah.
I love that he's a little. There's a different word I'd like to use, but he's a little
Uh-huh.
bitchy.
Yeah.
There's a different word
Uh-huh.
I would put in there, but I'm trying to keep it fun and light.
Yeah.
Um, he was serving. Let's
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Absolutely he was.
yeah. Charlie was
Um
not.
yeah,
Well,
Charlie
actually,
was
there's
kind
some.
of giving
Charlie
nothing.
gets a couple of lines where he's like a snarky little bitch too.
Yeah.
And Grandpa Joe's like a fuck. I mean, I know everyone says fuck Grandpa Joe, but like he's almost
Yeah.
as bad as the other people on the thing.
Yeah, he's absolutely like, especially the end when he's like, I'm calling Slugworth right now. It's like,
Yeah,
what
it's like
the
no, like dick.
yeah.
It's like
If I
all the
can't
adults are
if
petty and
I
like
don't get to
assholes.
win everything, if I don't win forever, I want this guy out of fucking business.
I mean, like you should be lucky that you survived to the end of the tour.
Yeah.
You got to see the whole thing. You didn't have anything really weird happen to you. I mean, you almost did. You almost died by getting sliced by fans, which isn't really how that works. But you know,
Yeah.
that almost happened to you, but you got out of it. So I
You
think
got
you
out
just
of
like
it.
getting to
And
walk away.
yeah.
That's fine. Again, it's like even like Charlie's such a neutral figure, but I think you're supposed to dislike almost everybody else in the movie other than
Yeah,
Willy
you're
Wonka. Like I was like, he's kind of justified because all these people are terrible.
yeah. Like that's kind of the idea. You're like, okay, the teacher's unlikable, all the kids are unlikable, all the parents are the grandparents are unlikable.
The
Like
mom's
it's
fine.
the mom exists, but like woman, so 1971 unlikable. Uh she doesn't
She's unlikable in the language of the film because she's trying to get
yeah.
Charlie to like take a
She's
chill pill,
just
and like
like,
not get his hopes up too high,
relax
which is
on
the
your
right thing. That's the
expectation.
right
Yeah,
parenting move. It's the right parent. She was doing the
absolutely
right
correct.
thing. The movie implies that she's
Thing
not, which is frustrating.
and she's like a single mom taking care of a child and 4 grandparents
And
by
she's like, "Hey,
herself.
just maybe don't get your hopes up too high, bud. Like,
Yeah, it's
there's
like,
100 billion people in the 5 continents of the world. Like,
yeah.
um,
Good thing he was handpicked by William Wonka.
but yeah, I mean, again, he had to have been.
He had to have
Again,
been.
well, again, it could have been the case where Slugworth was just slipped in the bar to the Candyman's place and just stood out and kind of waited.
I think he was like, you'll know when the right kid comes along.
Yeah. But like, was he
Uh,
looking for the replacement kid, right? Because it seems like all the other kids were not built to be replacement kids or selected to be replacement kids. And then Charlie, it was kind of like a
Yeah.
whatever, because he's like rude to all the kids when he's meeting them when they first slide up to see him at the
Yeah.
thing, and he's just kind of like not happy to see Charlie, but he's like, it's good to meet you. He's a
Yeah.
little less rude. Oh man, I really don't know what you're supposed to get out of
messaging.
this. I can't believe we're
I think
talking
it's
about this
just
fucking movie more than any of the other movies we've done.
This is the most interesting movie.
Because it's kind of bad. It's
But
like disjointed.
we watched a lot of kind of bad movies. I think this one's kind of good.
It's more interesting. There's more to it than a lot of the movies we watch, because a lot of movies
There's
we
a
watch are
lot
like
to this movie.
it's fine, or like it's kind of bad, but like there's enough money thrown at it that it's not terrible. Whereas with this, there is only $3 million thrown at it, and I don't care if that's 1971 money.
Yeah, That's a small budget. What was the budget for Taxi Driver? Do we remember? 50 million? Probably not. Look it up.
I'm trying.
Look it up.
Taxi Driver had a budget of 1.9 million, so
Okay.
considerably less, but also half the budget. But they didn't have to fucking go anywhere for that movie.
Yeah,
half of it's just driving around in a cab. That costs nothing in New York, where they already all lived.
Yeah,
or wherever they fucking shot it.
It was definitely New York.
They had to fly everybody out to Germany.
Yeah,
they didn't have Mike TV's not a little German boy.
Like the amount of special effects, even the like the Oompa Loompa songs with the like.
I was going to ask about that. If you liked the weird, like, you know, Windows Movie
the light
Maker,
shows,
like text popping up on the screen.
Yeah.
I thought it was cute. It was charming.
In the commentary, they were making fun of it. They're like, "Oh wow!" And then I don't know. I think it was Veruca, actress Veruca, was like, "This is like this was made in 1970. You guys, like, this is actually really impressive." And I'm inclined to agree. I think the special effects
I don't know
go
if
hard in this.
I don't know if it was impressive for, you know, the time or not, but I thought it was cute, and I liked it when not necessarily the text effects. I thought those were kind of, again, they're goofy in a charming way, but I liked that they, at least with the first song, like they zoom out the camera, they do weird little shots, like they're being artful with these little death songs for each of the kids, which is funny if nothing else.
I'm impressed with the production value of this film, actually. Like,
I mean, did they blow all of it in the pure imagination room?
I'm
absolutely
quite sure.
Almost all of it.
I'm quite sure they did. But it was worth it. The elevator scene is cool. The like shrinking Mike TV, they had to have a giant set, and they had to like show him getting picked up with fingers. You know,
the Mike TV thing that kind of still holds up.
That kind of holds up.
Yeah, they
and
really
like
did a small man.
The fizzy lifting drink kind of holds up as
they bumped in the ceiling, which had to be washed and sterilized.
Which quite an expense to wash and sterilize that ceiling.
Would they have to do that?
No, they don't. Why would they have to do that? And then, like, you just take fizzy lifting drink, you go up there with a rag, and then you just like wipe it off, and then you burp a little bit, and you're good to go.
You just turn off the fan for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
easy.
Look, there's a lot of custom stuff going on in here. They have a lot of sets. You got like the Charlie set. You got all the like obstacle illusion rooms at the beginning of the tour.
I like those.
The shrinking room, and then I don't know.
I liked all the miscellaneous like kind of gizmo machine thing. You know what I mean? Where it's just like there's things that move around and they're all covered in cloth and like they don't look like anything. And the machine that made the gum.
Yeah,
where it was like I liked that. I liked that a lot. That was really
and it had live bees in there.
Actually,
it was because it was a set. They were wasps, and the actor who played Mike TV unleashed them, and everybody got stung.
maybe that's why he got put into the TV.
Originally, he was supposed to win, but they were pissed at the actor. Gene Wilder went on record and was like, I like him now as an adult, but as a kid, I did not get along with him at all.
With Mike TV?
Yeah.
He does seem like, I mean, he did a good job playing the role he was given. And I don't know how much of that was acting. And
I think he was great. Paris Themin.
He was good. Mike TV is funny. It's also funny just to imagine. It's like the potential winners were Charlie and Mike TV. But it's also funny that Mike's crime is just as bad as chewing gum and eating a lot and being spoiled.
Yeah.
You could argue the only one of those that's like actual personal flaw and not like something that your parent like enabled is the gum chewing, which is not that bad.
Yeah, you make candy. Why are you upset that people like gum? You make
Right?
gum. Um, this is Mike TV's only film credit. He was
I think
in
it's a lot of
several.
their only film credits, I think.
Yeah, Charlie Bucket did get a 3-picture deal and he turned it down.
Really? That's hysterical.
Yeah, because
He's like, I don't want to be too big. I want to
he
go to
was
school.
he was filming this film for 5 months straight. So he's like, yeah, I think I'm done making movies. It kind of sucks. You get like shot with flame retardant and you have to like fly with a harness strapped around your dingling.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said 30 years after this movie came out that he's like, I have no regrets on turning down a film career. I'm glad. But I will say Charlie Bucket, Mike TV, non-binary names of 2025.
All right. So at this point, who would, since they've done a few recasts of this movie already,
Yeah.
how would you recast some of the characters?
If they were to remake this movie, not the
Not
prequel
the other two.
not the other two. I guess Willy Wonka.
I know who I'd have as Willy Wonka.
I know who you'd have. We all know the only fan cast person you ever pick
is Leonardo DiCaprio, but it would be a good fit. I think he would totally.
You think
he would
that
have that
can,
kind of unhinged, sort of like a Rick Dalton, Willy Wonka. I think would work because we make fun of me for casting him and everything, but he's a great actor, and he like every time I picked it, I don't think it's a bad pick.
Yeah, I think that he is an actor and he could slot into most roles.
And I think he'd be good at Willy Wonka.
Look, I'm going to go off the beaten path a little bit, and this is perhaps a little callback, but he's got the singing chops. We know that, and he's goofy, but he can take himself seriously if he wants to. I'm casting Jonathan Cena.
I think John would be he could be the Candyman at
the beginning. I would love a jacked Willy Wonka.
Jacked.
I want him ripped. He's taking his shirt off. He just got abs. You know who would be a great Grandpa Joe? Tom Cruise.
Yeah. I
like,
think
Tom
who's
Cruise
the main kid from Stranger Things? He should be Charlie. But like how old he is now.
Yeah.
Like I want gangly like 20
Finn Wolfhard.
Charlie. Yeah, Finn Wolfhard should be Charlie, but like tall and weird looking.
Yeah. Like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
He's got all the makeup and he's bald and fat. Bring like something like that. Not necessarily that exactly, but something like that. He could be Grandpa Joe.
He could be Grandpa Joe. I think
the mom.
Should be the mom?
Fairuza
Anya
Balk.
Taylor-Joy. What'd she say?
Fairuza Balk.
Who's that?
Oh, she's great. She plays Vicky
Angelina Jolie.
Angelina would kill it, dude.
She should be Mike TV's mom.
Angelina could be Mike TV's mom.
She actually, I don't think that's a bad.
And then, like, I don't know, Shiloh is Mike TV,
Yeah, just easy slot in.
That would be great. But yeah, Charlie's mom, I think, Fairuza Balk. She played Vicky Valancourt in The Waterboy.
Oh, okay.
She's got that famous smile.
They should make 11 from Stranger Things. She should be Veruca Salt.
Honestly,
Again.
great cast.
I think we could really Hollywood write us an
Hollyweird.
email. Let us do some.
badboycinemafanmail@gmail.com. Hit
We'll
us
take
up.
podcast, episode recommendations, and we'll take ad reads, and we'll take if you want us to do a script and you want us to cast, we'll do that too. They all go in the same email. So that's efficiency.
You have to have all three, all four. You have to have all of it in there. Like, I would love if you would watch my childhood favorite film, The Sandlot. Also, please sponsor our product.
Also,
we
recast The Sandlot and here's a script.
Yeah. Shout out to Sandlot. Maybe we'll do The Sandlot one day. Probably not, but
I've never seen
who's
it.
to say? It's a great film.
Better than this one?
Yeah. Sure.
I don't even know what I would rate this movie. Genuinely, like
I'm leaning towards like a 4.
Really?
Now, I am glossing over some of the things that I don't like about it.
Yeah.
But I've always had
like
kind of
Good Luck Charlie or whatever. That's like a minus a whole star.
Yeah.
By itself.
Yeah. To be fair to the film, or fair to me, I suppose. And you should be fair to me at all times. I did watch only the commentary, and they spoke over that whole song, so I didn't really listen to it.
You didn't have to walk in.
Now, I've heard it several times, and I do not like it. But they did.
It might be the ideal way to watch the movie is you have the commentary going over the bad parts of the movie.
Yeah.
And then when they like kind of shut up when the movie's good because they,
Yeah, I wish they did
attention
that.
to
it. Yeah, I'm leaning towards a 4 just because my mind has really been open to the skits in the beginning. I'm like, the therapist office, the ransom call, the computer. These are great bits.
They're good. They hold up for sure.
Yeah, it's.
I wish the movie was a little bit more confident in its anti-consumer.
Yeah,
because that's clearly bubbling underneath the surface.
Yeah, I think it was just too ahead of its time. Like we can't. And maybe it was Mel S. Maybe Mel S. was a bit of a coward. We'll never know.
I think we can agree that Mel S. was not firing on all cylinders for this one.
I think
like anything that happened that was in this movie that was good had nothing to do with Mel S.
Sure. I think that was him.
Kid, Winkleman.
I think that that was him at all cylinders, but someone else at all cylinders would do better.
I want Quentin Tarantino's last movie to be this movie remade to be how I want it to be.
A shot-for-shot remake minus the bad parts.
No, a Quentin Tarantino remake of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with Leo as Willy Wonka. Come on.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What about a Nolan Willy Wonka with Cillian Murphy?
Okay. I could get into that.
Or what about a Scorsese Willy Wonka with Al Pacino? With R.I.P. Ray Liotta.
Goodfellas, Willy Wonka, that kind of.
Yeah, that could go.
As long as I could remember, I always wanted to be a candy man.
Oh, actually, now you're gonna appreciate this pick. Written, directed, and starring as Willy Wonka, Mike White.
Yeah. I think he would do like a White Lotus at It takes place at the chocolate factory.
Yeah. And you get what's her name? Jennifer Coolidge.
She's dead in the White Lotus.
Yeah, but you get
canon.
Jennifer Coolidge as
Charlie's
Veruca
mom.
Salt's dad.
She would be Mike TV's mom.
Yeah, she would.
Yeah, cut from the same cloth.
This is the longest episode we've ever done of anything.
I can't believe this is what we got. We're like, yeah, we try and keep these episodes down to like 40 minutes, and sometimes we have to like find things to talk about because a lot of the movies we talk about are like just fine in a pretty uninteresting way. But this movie is so all over the place.
There's so much, and that's why I think it's good art because there's a lot to say about it. It makes you feel something.
It does. It is. It's certainly the most interesting. I mean, do I actually mean that? Is the most interesting movie that we've done? It's the most interesting to talk about. I don't think it's necessarily the most interesting movie to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily make it to a good movie, but it is an interesting movie to like think about and talk about.
Yeah, because it's such a cultural touchstone.
Yeah,
it's a cultural touchstone that it's interesting. You're like, I've never thought about Grandpa Joe in that light, that he is evil. Everyone thinks about that.
Again, I mean, I hope we've provided a little extra kind of, because I'm sure everyone who listens to this has seen this movie because it's like, it was on TV a lot. It's a movie that's like, canonized as like a thing that you watch as a youth, along with a Christmas Story or whatever, which that's a terrible movie, fucking awful movie.
We got to do that for Christmas.
We should do it
month. Never mind.
Do it for January. I mean, I'd be happy to talk about it because I hate that movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in quite a long time.
No, it's like for years I never watched it because it just always looked kind of bad. And then one time, I think I was like at my ex's house or something, and she was like, "Oh, we have to watch it. It's a Christmas tradition." I sat down and watched it, and I was like, "This is what people are memeing about? Like this?
Yeah,
it's awful."
That was a big Christmas tradition in my house as well. Yeah, freaking think about it, folks. It's one of the movies that everyone knows. Filmed
Which means you have to listen to this one. You can't skip it because you haven't seen this movie. Although, if you are hearing this, it means you haven't skipped it. So good job, soldier.
Good job. You did it.
You made it through an almost double length episode.
Thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. Shout out Charlie Bucket and Mike TV. Shout out Mike TV. Mike
TV is the real American hero.
He
should have won. I think he should have won. He was set up to fail.
Yeah, I think he should have brought his gun into the factory.
He did. I think it should have been a real gun.
Yeah.
But not till he's 12. That was all another good.
Not till you're 12, son. Yeah, great film. Check in next week.
For something else.
For who knows what. Perhaps Wonka. Perhaps The Sandlot. Most likely not. Goodbye, everybody.